Hi, I'm Kate O'Riordan. I'm Chief Product and Information Officer at the Financial Times. Obviously, none of us expected the thing that actually happened this year, but we had been preparing for it for years. So we have been very, very steadily moving to the cloud as the Financial Times over the previous years. And in fact, we expect to be cloud only by the end of 2020. So we had been preparing for this for years. We had also been practicing, and everybody who has ever done any kind of business continuity knows that the most important thing is to practice. Of course, as well as the extremely successful FT.com, the FT also makes a newspaper. Which has to be printed. And so we were extremely confident that we could continue to publish FT.com and the apps from home. And we were quite confident that we could publish a newspaper. And that was because we had been practicing. We had been practicing printing or sending the newspaper to the print site from various places. We'd done it from cafes, we'd done it from people's homes, we'd even done it from the roof of the building in which we work in central London. So we were quite confident. We've had a plan called Cloud 2020 for a long time, but before 2020 quite got the reputation that it has now. We've planned to be cloud only by the end of 2020, and we will be out of data centers by the end of the year, which for a 130-year-old company with vast amounts of legacy technology is a huge achievement and a testament to the hard work of all the engineers at the Financial Times who have made that happen. We saw a huge increase in subscriptions and engagement, which meant that we needed to make sure that our subscription strategy went as fast as it possibly can. So to a certain extent, that was about keeping on, because we have been working incredibly hard for a long time to accelerate the subscription business, and we needed to make sure that we continue to deliver those things that's going to deliver that growth in the subscription business, whilst also responding to the things that have fundamentally changed. So, for example, the FT had a very successful live events business, which stopped almost immediately, and we had to transition that entire business online, like all live events companies have had to do. So that was about finding the right partners to be able to deliver an online only experience, where before we had focused on in-person events, and making sure that we had the right technology in order to do that. So whilst at the same time looking into 2021 and beyond to make sure that we continue to grow as fast as we possibly can and pivot our strategy to capitalize on the fact that the trend towards digital has accelerated at the FT, as it has in loads and loads of other companies, and make sure that we have the right strategy in place to make sure that we can deliver on that. So if you're running a large technology team, that is always the balance that you have to strike. We just had to strike it in the middle of a global pandemic, which is continue on the things that you know are going to be successful for you in the long term, do the short order things that have to happen because the world has changed, whilst pivoting your long-term strategy to make sure that you are doubling down on the growth that you know is going to be healthy into 2021 and beyond. For several years now, we've been working on a new content management system for our journalists. So that is the system that the journalists use to write their content and publish it so that our readers can read it. We were just about ready to go live when the pandemic hit. And so we had to make a decision whether this was the right thing to do. Remember, we had the largest audiences that we'd ever seen. Our journalists have never been more busy, and they were all working from home for the first time. So we had to make a judgment call as to whether it was the right thing to do to launch a new content management system in those circumstances. But in the end, our journalists, because the new tool was so much better than the old one and designed to work in the cloud and designed to make it so that you could publish from anywhere, they were actually desperate to switch to the new system. So with some degree of trepidation, we made the decision to launch that new content management system in the middle of a global pandemic. So for me, that really does show that the empowered culture that we have, the fact that we use modern development practices, that we work so collaboratively with the rest of the business is the right thing to do, because it enabled us to publish and use a new content management system right in the middle of a global pandemic.